Okay, so first of all, to create your UCAS account, you need to go to ucas.com, and this is where you're going to get advice about different courses, complete your UCAS application, sign up for any events such as personal statement support, anything else that we recommend to you. At the top, in the top right hand corner, it says sign in. Click students, and it will bring you to different types of UCAS applications. So you need to be an undergraduate applicant. So what you want to do is go to the 2022 entry, go to your hub, and it will take you to a sign-in page. You then need to click on register, complete your details, and it will take you through. It will then send you a code to the email address that you sign up with. You need to enter that within 5 minutes before it expires, and then it will talk you through the next page. So now it brings us to the registration page. It asks us to go through some steps to complete our application entry. So first of all, it asks what year you want to start your studies in. So this is referring to the 1st September that you will have your degree in. So I'm saying September. Most courses start September. Some of them will start January, so you need to check the individual course and what you're applying for. So I'm going to say September. So now he brings up 2 levels of study that you can opt for. One is undergraduate, one is postgraduate. If you have not already studied for a degree, you need to make sure that you click undergraduate. Postgraduate is things like master's degrees. It then asks if you'd like any information about apprenticeships or conservatoires. Unless you are applying for performing arts or a work-based learning, you don't need to tick either of those. It will then ask you where to enter where you live. So I'm going to enter the college email address, but obviously you can enter your own. And also then ask you about your preferences about staying up to date. So how would you like to be contacted by UCAS? What would you like them to contact you about? It will then ask you for a mobile number, subjects that you are interested in, and whether you are still at school or college, which obviously we are. The page will take you to your UCAS hub, and this is where everything is that is all in one place for you to start your UCAS application. So what we have is your application that you actually need to do. You've also got a tariff calculator, so this is where you can work out how many points you have with the grades that you are predicted or grades that you are aiming for. There is also a university search option as well, so you can have a look at the different courses that are available at each one, different events that you've booked onto as kind of a calendar, as well as options to look at for careers advice, personal statement support, and also helpful deadlines that you might have to be following. So we are going to go into your application and we are going to click Start. We're going to select that we want to do an undergraduate application. And yes, we are applying from a centre. It now says link to your school using a buzzword. So your teacher will now use this time to tell you the buzzword because this changes year on year. So please enter your buzzword that your teacher says now. From your buzzword, it will ask you if this is the correct institution that you're trying to connect with. If it says our college, then that's perfect. You can press yes. And essentially what that does is it gives your teachers and tutors access to your application for purposes like adding in a reference. It will then say select a group. So again, this will be something that your individual teacher who's helping you with this will put you through. So hopefully you know now which area you're going under. So I am going to select the default group just to speed things along. So now we are actually in your UCAS application. You have a section with an overall view of your application status. You've got room to add your choices, some personal details, contact details, education details. All of these have to be filled in before you are able to send your application off. Your personal statement is typically going to be the biggest bit of this application and the bit that's going to take you the longest, but I'm going to talk you through the rest of the sections today. So first of all, if you already have options that you are aware of, that you know that you want to apply for, you can have a search for that particular university or that particular course. And it will show you whether or not that course is available. When you are selecting a course, I'll show you that again, you type in the subject. This first bit is the code, so that helps UCAS to identify. The 3FT, this number refers to how many years it is and whether it's full-time, FT, or PT, part-time. So ordinarily we would expect you to be going through a 3-year full-time course. The ON suggests whether or not you get honours from it. In an ideal situation, your degree would give you honours because it allows you to apply for specific institutions for recognition for your subject area. The location, it should only have one main site, but if you are choosing a university that has multiple campuses, then that may be different for you. And then choose your start date. Point of entry, again, will only need to be if you're entering anything other than first year. If you intend to do a foundation degree as well, you would have to enter year 0. So I'm going to put first year because that's what I want to do. Will you live at home while studying? Are you planning on going into halls or not? If you are planning on going into halls, click no. If you're planning on staying living with parents, click yes. This is purely to help for finance point of view. Then I've added my first choice. You can have up to 5 choices added. They can be all of the same subject, they can be all of the same university, but you have to have 5 different options. It is not going to cost you any more to go for 2, 3, 4, 5 options. So if you're going to put more than one, you might as well go for all 5. Bearing in mind, you're not guaranteed to get offers from all 5, so it's good to have a backup as well. When we go down to profile, we've got a section called personal details, which should be fairly straightforward. You can go through all of the date of birth, and then what you want to do is mark this section as complete when you've done it. If there are bits that you still have outstanding, that's absolutely fine. You can click save and just know that you've still got to work on some of those questions. That's absolutely fine. Contact details, make sure that you've got an up-to-date telephone number and an up-to-date email address that you do access regularly. Nominated access refers to whether or not you want somebody to act on your behalf if you are unable to talk about your application for any reason. So for example, if you were on holiday and UCAS were trying to contact you about something, are you happy for somebody else to talk about your account on your behalf? This can be a parent, this can be a teacher, but you would have to specify that person. And again, go through, save the section as complete, or just save it for future progress. The education section is possibly one of the longest sections that you're going to fill out. So first of all, you need to add a place of education. So this is your current school, current college, for example, and you have to include all educational history. So anything that you got a qualification at. So this would include where you sat your GCSEs as well as what you're sitting now. So again, you have to type it in and it will bring up the Northampton College, and it will automatically put in your exam centre number, so you don't need to know that. Your start date will be when you first have started studying at this institution. So if you've done more than one course with us, you put the start date of that one. So let's assume I started September, but actually I've already been here for a year. So I started September 2020. I'm planning on leaving by July 2022, ready to start my new course in September 2022 at university. Types of study. So most of you will probably be on a full-time study program, or you could be studying part-time or a sandwich. A sandwich is a full-time course that's had a year out in industry, but I don't think many of you will be using that. Will you get any qualifications from the centre? Yes, you will. Save. And you'll see now it's added the college to the top of the page. You don't need to enter your ULN. This will go separately depending on which awarding body you've already studied with, for example, but you can leave it blank and it won't have any impact on your application. The highest level of qualification you expect to have before you start your university course usually will be below honours. So you will have a level 3 programme, you will have a level 2 programme, but you won't yet have a degree. I'm going to mark this section as complete as well. Okay, so you have to add the qualifications. So add qualification. So, and again, this is the bit that's actually going to take the longest time to complete. So depending on the programme you are on will depend on the qualifications that you need to add. So once we've clicked on add qualification under Northampton College, we need to search for our actual qualification. Yours will not appear for forensics under one of these shortlists because it's not something that's overly common. So you need to search for it. And what I want you to search for is BTEC Level 3 National. And it will bring up a range of options. You have studied the BTEC Level 3 National Extended Diploma 1080 2016 to present. Please bear in mind that if you put the wrong qualifications in, UCAS will calculate your values differently, which means universities will give you offers that perhaps you can't reach, or they'll refuse you an offer on the basis they don't think you've studied high enough. So please make sure you do not get this one wrong. So we're going to click Pearson BTEC Level 3 National Extended Diploma. And as we start typing in our title, you will find that it brings it up because it knows that is the correct one. If it does not bring up the actual title of your qualification, then you've added the wrong qualification. So please go back and double check that. So we're going to select that from the list. Qualification date is the date that we are planning to finish it. So for us, this will be July of this year. So July 2022. Our awarding body is Pearson. It's Pearson BTEC. And our grade, we haven't yet finished the course, so we need to put pending. Once you've done that bit, if you carry on scrolling down, it will ask you to add different modules. You need to add every single module or unit that we have done across the full 2 years of the course. So you can start off with Unit 1 and work your way through. You can do them in the order that you completed them, the order that you remember them. That's absolutely fine, but you need to make sure that you have all of your units listed. So think about different staff members, think about different exams or coursework that you've taken, and make sure you've got all of them listed. If in doubt, you can get a list from a member of staff. So if you are worried, please do ask us. We have access to the full list that you have taken. So for example, Unit 1, Applications of Science. Principles and Applications of Science 1. This was one of the units that we looked at. Again, the qualification date you can leave as July 2022, even if you sat it last year. And you can put your grade in. And then we need to add another module. Module number 2. Again, find the title of the unit that you studied, which I think it was Practical Scientific Procedures and Techniques. And again, you can see that because I've entered the correct qualification, it will prompt me and it will show me what they should be called. Again, I'm going to leave this as July 2022. I'm going to give myself a distinction. Module 3. So we're going to keep going through all of this until you've filled in all of your modules. Once you've got all of them, you need to save your qualification. Grade entered for a future date. Apologies. Leave it blank. Okay, you can put the grade in if it has already been cashed in and your qualification date was July 2021. That's absolutely fine. You can put your grade in that. But if not, leave them as pending because, to be honest, it's probably safer to do that until we've cashed in your full qualification. So if you've also studied GCSEs with us, you can add them, but you must make sure that any qualification has a date that's within these 2 dates that you've entered. So if you came to the college several years ago, you need to add that as a separate education. You will also need to add your school so that you can add GCSEs, level 2s, anything else that you've completed, anything that you've done kind of in the last couple of years, really. So anything GCSEs, because they will all be worth points. And it also sometimes is a condition of any offers that the universities give you. Even if you have registered with BTEC, you don't necessarily need to know your BTEC registration number. So again, you can leave this blank. That's absolutely fine. The highest level of qualification you expect to have before you start your course with below honour degrees, and then we can either mark as complete or go to save this section if we want to add something else later. So next section is employment. So this will be a history of all work or any work that you've taken part in. You don't have to have any employment history. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. You can just mark that section as being complete without it being full up. But if you do want to add your employment history, again, go through. It doesn't ask much detail. Company name, when you work in that working in that position, and whether or not it was full or part-time. And then click save. You can add multiple ones. That's absolutely fine. And then save your section at the end. Nationality details. So if you are where you were born, where it says on your passport, your nationality as well. If you have dual nationality, you will need to mark it here as well. The supporting information, so have you ever lived or worked in the EU, or have you had a parent, step-parent or partner who is an EU national? It will also ask you about any disabilities that you feel you have or you have already been diagnosed with. There'll be a drop-down list for you to select the nature of it. So this will include physical and mental disabilities, and there is also room for you to elaborate further on them. It is limited to 450 characters though, so it doesn't ask for a lot of information. The reason that UCAS will want to know this is to make sure that universities are able to give you more support and make sure that universities are able to ensure that any interviews that you have to attend are accessible for you. So it's well worth filling it in accurately. English language skills is to ask whether or not you have an English as your first language. If you have, you can click yes, that's absolutely fine, and that will be the whole section done. If English is not your first language, you need to click no, and you need to then complete some details about the English proficiency tests that you have taken. So this will probably require you finding your certificates and entering the numbers that are on there. And again, once you've done, mark as complete. For the finance and funding, if you are going through student finance, your option will be UK, Channel, Isle of Man, or EU student finance services. If you are self-funding, so for example, if you're not entitled to student finance because of your nationality, because of your residency status, because you've already had a degree from elsewhere, then you will obviously have to think about which source that is coming from, which what I would expect would be private finance. But if you have never been to a university before, no existing degree, have lived in the UK, are a UK national, EU national, then this will be the option that you need to choose. You will then also need to decide who will be assessing you for your tuition fees. So this will be Northampton. And again, once you've done that, mark this section as complete or save this section if you want to come back later. You can see where I'm not clicking mark as complete. It has kind of like a half clock, and that means I'm still working on that section. If I clicked complete, it would be marked as fully completed. The final section of your UCAS application is your personal statement. This is going to be something that you're going to be working on more than just for 5 minutes. This is a written piece of work, up to 4,000 characters, including spaces, and a maximum of 47 lines. Please do not write directly into this box because it will time out if you have not clicked anything in sort of 15 minutes. So please make sure that you write your personal statement in a Word document and then copy and paste it into this box. It must be submitted through this box. And again, you can save a draft, but honestly, I would do it in a Word document. And once you've done that, you have completed your personal statement application. You've completed your UCAS application, sorry, and you will be able to now look at submitting your application and look forward to receiving offers on your choice.